Hey there, Elizabeth here, and before we get into today's episode, I thought I would just make sure you knew about my free workshop. It's called The 3 Secrets to Integrating the Arts with SEL. And if you're interested in creating some calm, dissolving those distractions, and promoting positivity in your classroom, this is definitely a workshop you want to check out. You can go to theinspiredclassroom.com/workshop and register for free right there. I hope to see you inside. Hello and welcome to the Inspired Classrooms podcast. I'm Elizabeth Peterson, your host, and I'm looking forward to talking about arts integration today and in general the arts in learning. So over the next 3 episodes, we're going to take a good close look at 3 key benefits to bringing creativity and the arts into your classroom. In this episode, we're going to look at how the arts can build community. Next time, we'll look at how the arts help with self-awareness. And then, finally, we're going to look at how the arts provide for deep content learning. All right, so let's get started with the arts building community. Now, this is true not just at the beginning of a school year, but any time of year. In fact, I really believe that building community is important to do any time of the school year, any time of year. So if you're listening to this at back to school, great. If you're listening to this midway through the school year, still, this is going to pertain to you. Even if you're listening to this in the summertime as you're preparing for your beginning of the school year, this is going to be a great thing to keep in mind. And I would even argue that even if it's the end of the school year, still doing something that's going to build community as your students are finishing off the year is going to be such a great benefit to them and to you. Because let's face it, social emotional learning, which is ever so important, and it keeps growing every single year. Social emotional learning is something that we don't just do in one section of the day, one time of the year. It's something that just carries over in every aspect of our life all the time, right? And so giving students these opportunities to have this type of learning, not just social emotional learning, but SEAL, social emotional artistic learning, can just bring it up a whole new level. All right. Because artistic experiences can bring people together. And we're talking about community here. And the thing about artistic experiences is that when you do something as a group, as a community, it gives students and people in general actually that common experience. And when they do that together and they can look at each other while it's happening, while they're going through the creative process, while they're contributing to the whole, that's where the connections start to really be made. And it's not just because you're sitting in the same classroom as another student, not just because you're listening to the same teachings from your teacher, not because you're doing the same schoolwork and maybe overcoming similar challenges on a worksheet. When you're hands in, ears on, whole body learning through the arts, that is a whole new level of experience. And when you can do that with a group of people, that common experience really brings people together. So I'd like to go over like a few activity ideas. Excuse me. A couple of activity ideas that, I've done in the past, that other teachers have done in the past, that just kind of will give you a little spark of inspiration to try with your students. And some of these you may have already done, right? Bring them back to life, right? Keep doing them. Maybe you'll have a new added element that you can bring to the next time you do this. All right, so let's talk about large puzzle pieces. So this is a great one to kind of give students a chance to have a chance to do something as an individual and then bring it together as a community. You've probably seen this type of idea in the past. Maybe you've even done this, where you give each student either a puzzle piece or a square piece of paper, and you allow them to create their square or their piece that shows their interests, their talents. Maybe they design it with their favorite colors, and you allow them to have their own unique piece. But then you put it together as a class. Now, again, this could be done as like squares of a quilt. That's always a great one. You can also create puzzle pieces, and you don't have to have like puzzle pieces that you purchase and then they actually look exactly like puzzle pieces. You know, you can take one of these, a piece of huge paper like the butcher paper, and then you can cut it out into however many pieces you have for your students. And it doesn't have to be exactly looking like puzzle pieces. They can be swirlies and all kinds of things. And then when the kids start putting it together, they have to work together to really figure out how the pieces fit together. The beautiful thing when you're done with this collaborative piece is that students can then stand back and find their unique piece and also have great discussions about how their unique piece fits into the whole, right? Maybe they'll start to also see similarities. Like if one student put a hockey stick on their piece and another person put a hockey stick on theirs, there's a similarity. And you may also notice differences. You know, who's got orange as their favorite color, who's got blue as their favorite color. You know, just talking and thinking about all the people that make up the class and how their uniqueness contributes to the whole. All right, let's move on to a music one. This idea is one of my favorites for building community and bringing people together, and that is playing instruments together. Now, before you get too intimidated by this idea, think about small instruments, you know, those little like classroom instruments. Maybe you have a few. Maybe if you're a music teacher, you can pull them out of a closet. Maybe you have them in a basket already at the front of your room. Pull them out and use them for community building. If you don't have them, ask your music teacher for some, okay? Or if you want to keep it really, really simple, you can have students play body percussion on their own bodies, maybe a clapping or a tapping on their knees or a tapping on their shoulder or their chest. And what this does is, what it is you put your students in a circle and you play rhythms together. So you have a leader. That leader can be you as the teacher. And I would actually suggest that to begin. You could also have a strong leader student who you think might be able to carry a rhythm throughout the whole thing. Because here's the key. You need a leader to have a solid, steady, repetitive rhythm that you can use as a backbone as other students start playing on their instruments. That's called an ostinato. And so it might sound something like this. I hope this comes through okay on the microphone. So it could be a simple thing like this. And I'm just tapping on my chest here. And then what you can do is ask other students to start adding in their own unique rhythms into this steady ostinato. And as they're layering in their own voice that comes through their instrument or their own sound that they're creating with their body percussion, what you end up with is a beautiful orchestration of just all these different sounds coming through. And even if it doesn't sound really good the first time, maybe you and end it and start again and talk about what it takes to actually come out with something that's going to sound nice. Well, it takes a lot, right? It takes listening to what's happening. It takes knowing what your sound is. It takes knowing when to interject your sound into that rhythm. And as they're listening to others and adding their own sounds, they start to find their place in this community. It builds community so well, especially if, and this is one of the secrets to SEAL, especially if you keep it consistent and you do this not just once, but maybe a couple of times throughout the year, so that your students kind of get a little bit more ease with doing something like this, and then they can actually build off of it and discover how great a community this can actually build. So try it out. If you have questions about that, or even the puzzle pieces, or anything that we're talking about, be sure to contact me. DM me over on Instagram. You can also do it on Facebook. I'm at The Inspired Classroom on Instagram. So DM me, and I love talking about these community building ideas. So definitely do that. Think about some other ways that are kind of fun to get your students to work and talk and think together. Creating skits that go along with your content is a great way for students to collaborate, to go through some responsible decision making as they're working together, giving them those real, like I said, full body experiences with artistic creation can just really bond kids together and help them to work through conflict too, which is another skill in their social emotional development. Another idea is having some kind of art share. Maybe it's a bulletin board in your classroom. Maybe it's a virtual one. Maybe it's a discussion. Having an art share where students can either share things that they create, or maybe share their favorite movie or song or genre of music or favorite genre of literature, their favorite dance moves, whatever it might be, and having them share and discuss those types of things and why they like it. And what this does is when they bring a little piece of themselves to the group, and they're given the opportunity to hear from others and to see similarities and notice differences and realize that it's all good. It's all part of life, right? And growing and learning with different people. Those are the real life skills that are going to be really good for our students to practice in the safe learning environment that we want to create for our students. So let me know what kinds of creative things you like to do in your classroom to build community. Like I said, go find me on Instagram. It's at The Inspired Classroom, and DM me your ideas. And I would love to continue to share them out as well. And let's continue next time as we're looking at these key benefits to bringing creativity and the arts into your classroom. Next time, we're going to look at how the arts help build self-awareness, and also how the arts provide for deep learning in your content areas. All right, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will connect with you next time. Thanks so much for listening. My name is Elizabeth Peterson. Be sure to subscribe, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you.